Here we are again, Hudson County View, live and uncut. Here I am again, the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, the women's pet and the men's regret. What you see is what you get. John, Our Highness, good to be back. And, you know, we're less than 3 weeks away from the November 5th elections, needless to tell most of you. So, of course, like every week, we have a lot to talk about. It's been a particularly busy 7 days since we last sat down here at the Hudson Media Group studio in North Bergen. So let's get right to it. So there was a public meeting on Tuesday evening at the Multi-Service Center in Hoboken about the Hoboken Rail redevelopment plan, and that project is a large one that involves the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, NJ Transit, of course the city of Hoboken, and other partners. And a lot of residents are concerned about parking. They expressed some dismay about what would happen with some of that land, and we're going to tell you all about that. I don't want to give too much away right off the bat. We're also going to talk about the latest in the Airbnb fight over in Jersey City. As we talked about at the end of last month, that's going to be and continues to be a very expensive fight. Both sides have dropped nearly $1 million with less than 3 weeks to go, according to campaign finance reports. We're certainly going to tell you all about that as well. Another thing that we're going to touch on today is possible pay hikes coming to the Jersey City Mayor, Council, as well as a pay scales for certain directors. That's something that is going to be implemented over time. So certainly all the details on that are forthcoming. And we also have in the studio today Hoboken's 5th Ward Council candidate, Nicola Maganuco. So we're going to sit down with him in just a moment. We just have a brief word with our sponsors.
It takes more than a state-of-the-art medical facility to make a great hospital. It takes a team of dedicated medical professionals. That's the Jersey City Medical Center, Hudson County's #1 hospital. Medical teams consisting of New Jersey's top doctors, Magnet Award-winning nurses, and accomplished hospital associates, all committed to your good health. That's what you have at the Jersey City Medical Center. Make Hudson County's #1 hospital your first choice. Visit us on the web at barnabashealth.org. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and launch inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers the quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just one path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to NewportNJ.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. NewportNJ.com. Newport, live like you want.
Here we are again, Hudson County View, live and uncut. John, Our Highness, and as promised, we are joined with Hoboken 5th Ward Council candidate Nicola Maganuco. Nick, thanks for coming in.
Oh, thanks for having me, John.
So, Nick, obviously you jumped in a little late in this thing. A lot of people were expecting Peter Cunningham to run, needless to tell you.
Yeah.
Certainly he's not. Right. And it's a three-way dance, my favorite kind of dance. Tell me why you wanted to get in this thing.
Yeah, well, a couple of reasons. I mean, number one, the biggest thing is because I was really frustrated with taking the bus to work every day. As with many residents, over 50% of Hoboken residents commute into New York City. Over 50% of us take public transit. So I've been taking the bus for years, and and I was tired of either waiting on a long lines that would wrap around the curb. I used to take the bus from 15th and Willow. Now I take it from 9th and Clinton, and it's the same everywhere. Overcrowded buses, residents fight with each other, skip lines, and that's really not what Hoboken is about. And so I felt the need to do something about it. So I'm the founder of the Twitter handle Hoboken Commuter, where I've been advocating for Hoboken commuters, whether you take the bus, the path, the car, or even the ferry. I've always been an advocate, always on the front lines, trying to push to the mayor and to the city council that our public transit is unsustainable. And so I've been doing that, and I said, hey, you know what, I'm gonna run for city council. There's an open seat. I think this is a great opportunity for me to do something about it now.
Now, I don't think there's too many people in Hoboken that believe that public transit is perfect. I'd be surprised if you could find one person who says that, right?
Yeah.
But, certainly the city council, the mayor, our legislators, et cetera, they can only be good advocates for New York Waterway, NJ Transit. So, I mean, what would that mean if you were elected to serve?
Yeah, that's a great question, John. You're right, the city council can only do so much. But that's not the type of closed-minded thinking that we need on the city council. We need an advocate, we need a voice on the city council. And right now there's no one advocating for Hoboken commuters. I could think of 1 or 2 council members out of the slate of 9 that take public transportation, but that voice is missing. And that's not on their agenda to push for. So right now there's a great need to improve public transit. A lot of people are frustrated, and I feel as though if we actually have someone on the council, someone who actually represents the demographics of Hoboken, someone who actually understands the issue day in and day out of the frustrations of taking public transit and working cross-jurisdiction with New Jersey Transit to collaborate, meet with them regularly. Listen, we have a ton of riders that go through our transit systems in Hoboken, and we deserve for a better quality of service.
So if you do get the privilege to be elected for the Mile Square City, of course, the 5th Ward, what do you think is one initiative that you would like to spearhead in the early going that has to do with this public-private partnership with the public transit partners?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the first thing I definitely want to tackle is aim for a 15th Street light rail station. We have a growing development on our western side of town, and there is a need there for an uptown transit line. We need a better way to connect the north and the south ends of Hoboken. A lot of people from uptown commute to Jersey City. So I think the Northwest is one of the most disadvantaged neighborhoods when it comes to public transit. That's because we're far from the ferry, we're far from the train, and we're one of the last stops to get picked up on from the bus. So we need it would be great to have a 15th Street light rail station, and this is how we go about it. So New Jersey Transit said they don't have enough funding to do it themselves. So we do need a private-public partnership. And one of the ways we could do this is by partnering up with Hudson County. There's something called a TDD. It's called a Transportation District Development District, which basically would establish a transportation trust fund that would basically have developers pay an assessment to put tours into, where you could finance things like a 15th Street light rail station, where you can make investments in our bus shelters, have a digital sign that tells you when the next bus is coming, so you're not stranded there cluelessly waiting for when it is. We need to implement smarter technology too, and so this is how you go about it. We also have to support Senate legislation that's going on right now. You can't ignore it. Senate Bill 1354. It basically allows municipalities to pay into through a tax assessment a fee where it's called a transport fee, where they would pay in a tax assessment, and you could use that as well to finance projects like a 15th Street light rail station. We need to start thinking outside the box, and we got to start advocating for the right things. And if we don't have a voice on the council to do that, we won't see the critical investments that this town needs to improve public transit.
Very good, Nick. So about a month ago, one of your opponents in the race, Phil Cohen, was sitting right in that seat, as you're well aware.
Yes.
And something that we had a long discussion about was the bike lanes in town. And he said that if elected, he would like to see some of those bike lanes revisited. So do you think that this is something that is a viable option for the city? And if you were elected, I mean, how would you address that, if at all?
Yeah, I think when it comes to that issue, I think my views on that are aligned with Phil's. I am a supporter of protected bike lanes. I do want to see them on Washington Street. However, it has to make sense, right? You can't put bike lanes all throughout, protected bike lanes all throughout Hoboken. I definitely want the professionals and the consultants to do traffic studies, to observe the streets where it does make sense and where it doesn't make sense, and make those recommendations. But I do want to see them. I'm a huge advocate for people who take the bike as well. I use it, and yeah, I think we need to do more from that end. I think we need to repaint our roads to make the bike lanes more clear. Quite honestly, they're terrible in the Northwest. Not all streets, but most streets, they're pretty bad. And it gets really intimidating to take a bike out in Hoboken because you're just not sure where to actually ride it on. And so I think we need to have clearer bike lanes. And yes, I would like to see protected bike lanes because it is fully aligned with the Vision Zero program.
And as you're well aware, we could easily do a whole program, probably a handful of programs on e-scooters. But anytime you're talking about bike safety, this comes up, right? Or pedestrian safety. So just where do you stand on this issue? Obviously, the pilot would expire about 3 weeks after the election. So what do you think the next step is, and what do you think something you could advocate for if elected?
Well, that's a huge issue across my ward, John. I've knocked on thousands of doors. I spoke to thousands of residents, and I would say 1 in every 2 or every 3 doors mentions the scooters, and understandably so, right? They open these doors, I see the children right before me, and I understand their concerns. I understand it. So here's my take with the scooters. I really do think we need to pause the program come when the pilot ends. Of course, as you know, the administration, the city will make a decision as to whether we continue or not, but I don't want to make a radical decision, John. I do think we need to think about this one carefully. I would like to see the program be put on pause. I do want to bring in the consultants to make recommendations. I mean, these scooters are implemented worldwide. If we bring professionals that can make recommendations of how we're using them correctly, how we're not using them correctly, and then maybe reintroduce the scooters come in the spring. And if those suggestions work, great. If they didn't, then we have to revisit the terms for sure. But the safety is important. There's so much more we have to do from a safety and enforcement perspective. And quite honestly, we need to start asking the questions. We renegotiated the contract with Lime, which was a step in the right direction. We're getting 35 cents for every ride. But how much money did we collect so far, John? And what exactly, from an enforcement and safety perspective, is being done with all this money that we've collected from Lime scooters? Do we have the statistics as to how many scooter rides have been throughout town? I would like this information in real time, and residents deserve it, because quite honestly, there's a ton of safety concerns, and things need to be addressed right away before the next accident happens.
All right, pretty concise answer there. I think we all know where you stand now. So another thing, I mean, you briefly touched on earlier how the Northwest, you feel like, has gotten left out a lot in the past. And wanted to talk about Northwest Resiliency Park. So obviously this looks like it's pretty much done. They cut the ribbon and everything, but it's a big project, the biggest in the state. I heard it's actually one of the biggest in the country. Just wanted to get your take on that and what sort of benefits this brings to the Fifth Ward.
Well, yeah, so the Northwest Resiliency Park, there's a lot of benefits to the park. I mean, it was definitely one of the most expensive parks. It's going to be the largest park in Hoboken. It's meant to hold 2 million gallons of storm runoff water. It's going to have a soccer field, an ice skating rink, a baseball field. But I really do feel as though most of the community was kind of left behind. There was a ton of community involvement. For instance, before the park construction, there was a temporary pop-up park. And there were a ton of residents using the pickleball courts, for instance, for pickleball. And for some reason, that wasn't captured as part of the plan. And there's a great demand and need for pickleball courts. And a lot of residents, too, felt the same way for other issues. And I felt enough community input into it. And when we talk about the park, when we talk about the North End redevelopment plan, we have to make sure that there's enough community input. There were only 2 public community meetings for the North End redevelopment plan. That's huge. What's going on recently with the Hoboken rail yards, where that whole plan was amended and brought to the city council for a vote. And I think it's absurd how it was amended without much community input, or hardly any at all. And so when we take a look at things like that, you have to beg the question that we need to have more community involvement and make sure that things are actually done according to what the residents want and need.
So regarding the Hoboken rail yard redevelopment, if you were on the dais when this came before the governing body, is this something that you would vote for or not?
Well, I couldn't make a vote for it. Absolutely not. I mean, not yet. John, because quite honestly, there has been changes where their community has not been able to participate and voice their concerns on those changes. The mayor wasn't even at the meeting this past Tuesday. How do you call yourself a mayor of this town when you're not at the front lines of that meeting where you propose changes that's going to impact thousands of people for many years to come, and you as a mayor are not there at that meeting, that's embarrassing for the entire city, especially for the mayor. And that shouldn't happen. And he should have been there at that meeting on Tuesday. And I'll reserve any more that I have to say, but I don't think that's the way you lead on leadership. And that's why I want to bring in a new generation of leadership, one that is always connected with the community, connected in many ways, connected through technology. We need to make investments where we could be more collaborative as a society and get more input. But it's quite honestly embarrassing that a mayor like that does not show up to a community meeting. He's a politically connected mayor who's supporting one of my politically connected opponents as well.
So on that point, Nick, please tell us how you really feel. But on that point, so look, obviously, a lot of people in this race consider Phil Cohen the favorite because, look, he's raised a lot of money. He's I guess you could call it a household commodity. He's been in Hoboken a long time. And, he's running with the backing of the mayor, as you just alluded to. So why do you think that will be insignificant on Election Day?
John, don't let the flashing lights blind you. That's always been my philosophy. Yeah, you see signs on some brownstone houses, but those signs don't vote. And I really do feel as though this is an individual who, quite honestly, is very politically connected in this space. And just because he's raised a lot of money, it's because he has deep pockets. He's been in the political space for a long time. He's tried running for county freeholder. He was at one point the chairperson of the Democratic Hoboken Committee. This is a guy who's very politically connected. He's doing this, in my thoughts, for political gain. And how I'm different is I'm actually an independent candidate. The mayor didn't tell me to run for this position. I wasn't told by anybody to run for this position. I'm running because I want to actually improve public transit. I want to run because this is a public cause. And I'm more than just a one-issue candidate. I have an opinion on transportation. I have an opinion on education. I have an opinion on taxes. I have an opinion on development. But I actually am running because I have a public cause. And I think that's the biggest difference between Phil and I. I actually have practical solutions, and you could ask anyone. I give solutions for any topic anyone asks me. I always give practical solutions. And you don't hear that enough from my opponents.
Gotcha.
And I think that's the biggest difference between Phil and I.
Very good, Nick. Pleasure. Thank you for
John.
joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We're not done. We're just going to take another quick breather. We'll be right back with you.
The Jersey City Medical Center. You know it for its award-winning, life-saving ambulance service. It's also your health hub, with health and wellness locations staffed with certified professionals all through Hudson County. The Jersey City Medical Center, here to help you with your healthy, here when you need us the most. The Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the net to learn more. Jersey City Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health Facility. Let's be healthy together.
Good Friend Self Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Here we are, Hudson County View, live and uncut. John Arhidis, and this time with Mark Bucinich, my esteemed colleague, of course. So, Mark, obviously there's a lot going on in Hoboken. I mean, we're less than 3 weeks out. I was at the Hoboken Yard Redevelopment Plan public meeting on Tuesday, and as most people watching are aware, that was a pretty interesting meeting, if I do say so myself. We're going to play you a really short clip just to give you a little flavor of what was going on there.
If you have a question
Talk about the environmental impact of this plan.
Filling in one slip, which will significantly help. It's 150 million. That answers your question.
Engineer about the environmental
That's
impact.
a great question. I think she has a fantastic question.
My number one concern is the environmental impact and making sure that Hoboken South is protected. And
So I have our L4, our professionals, we have nothing to do with the rebuild design of this barrier. There are specific.
Clearly you don't. I'm asking
So
about your change.
you have questions about
They
it.
did not change it.
I didn't change
State
the
of
wall
New Jersey
location. The state of New Jersey did. I don't dictate the impact on Hoboken. I'm talking about right now, right? I know there's a future site, 1 million square feet. It was 2.3, and I know there's an opportunity for another site down the road, so 1.3 to 2.3. It's a smaller footprint. It is a smaller development. We are not going, it is, the wall gets built, that development is not, that area is not.
All right, so Mark, maybe a stupid question, but I'll ask anyway, so humor me. So look, were you surprised at all by the decorum in the room, the way that meeting played out?
No, not in the least bit, John. I mean, it seems like a lot of the commuters and residents who were there last night had all these concerns, questions regarding parking and the amount of space that this project will take up, and environmental concerns, what that might do to this flooding, say, for example, when there's heavy rains, like as there was last night in Hoboken. But it was interesting to see how different representatives from, for example, Alcor, Brian Barry, Senior Vice President, was trying to assuage the residents' concerns. And he also emphasized, he made note that, listen, this may be once in a lifetime opportunity, because it seems like all the players are on the same page, at least the major players are, right? New Jersey Transit, PATH, New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. And he said, and as you reported in your story, if there's change in leadership in any one of those organizations, well, it may be a missed opportunity.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that sums it up in a few words, Mark. I mean, obviously, he said this may be a once-in-a-lifetime type of aligning of the stars. Some people don't feel that way, but obviously some people on the development side certainly feel like this is the one, this is the time you have to jump. So listen, just to reiterate for people that forgot or maybe aren't familiar with the project, in 2014, this was 2.3 million square feet, over 80 acres in the first ward. And now it's technically down to 1.357 million, but there's also 944,000 square feet that's for some undisclosed future development. However, Mr. Barry said at the meeting two things that were really important to, I think, a lot of people. And that one was that it won't interfere with that $230 million rebuild by design project. It won't have any interference with the flood wall, is what he said. And he also made note that undeveloped land that would be opposite of the flood wall and the rail yard will not be touched by the developer. Obviously people are skeptical. It's Hoboken, if you didn't realize. So yeah, that's the way it is. That's the way it's going to be. But obviously those are some pretty bold assertions. I mean, obviously it didn't calm the entire crowd, but it seemed to put some people's concerns at bay.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, and even one of the Mesa Consulting, I believe the representative from Mesa Consulting, I mean, as you indicated in your report and what the video showed, was that a lot of the residents and commuters there had questions about, increasing traffic, and she seemed to be very straightforward, and she did acknowledge that, well, yeah, a project of this size and this magnitude will contribute to traffic, so she was at least willing to admit that.
Very good. Thanks, Mark. We're going to take one more commercial break, and we'll be right back, ladies and germs.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office space and an address your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment. Adjacent to all modes of transportation. On-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. 201-521-9000 or visit on the web at panapintoproperties.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Introducing the MyJCMC app, powered by Practice Unite. The free MyJCMC app puts the power of healthcare at your fingertips. Go to the concierge for access to referrals, scheduling, and appointments, see emergency room wait times, and get directions to Jersey City Medical Center health locations. Read the latest JCMC news through their social media feed, find a doctor, and more. The MyJCMC app. We belong to you.
Rama Jewelers, located in the Lyndhurst Shopping Center at 413 Valley Brook Avenue, Lyndhurst. Come for all your jeweler needs at Rama Jewelers, where you will find a fine selection of necklaces, earrings, rings, and bracelets. Choose from one of our complete sets, our many signature items, or find the perfect engagement ring. Come on down. That's Rama Jewelers at 413 Valley Brook Ave, Lyndhurst. Call 201-939-5784 or visit us online today.
And we're back, Hudson County View, live and uncut. John Arhitis, Mark Bucinich. So, Mark, excuse me, tell me if you heard this one before. The Airbnb fight is not pretty here in Jersey City.
Where's that happening, John?
So, look, we talked about this who knows how many weeks in a row.
Yes.
But we got a couple more, and it's not going to get any more pleasant than it is now.
That's right.
So, as you know, and as hopefully our readers and viewers know at this point, there was a story just a couple hours before we hit the air. And that story was basically saying that the Division of Taxation from Jersey City sent out a letter to one of these developers that has supposedly been running a quote-unquote illegal Airbnb hotel that's supposed to be a mixed residential property at 3075 John F. Kennedy Boulevard. The Caprice Hotel, it's called, and you know, it looks like they're in danger of losing that tax abatement. Meanwhile, the other side, the Keep Our Homes group, as you're intimately familiar with, and hopefully everyone else is too, they are complaining that there has been some instances of physical intimidation and harassment in this campaign. I know, impossible to believe in Hudson County, but it looks like things are getting low down dirty. We're getting down to prime time, and it looks like the gloves are off. Safe to say?
It sure is, John. I mean, great report, interesting story this morning that just went, as you said, went online just a couple hours ago, or just right before we went on air. And I guess, you know, this decision taking, the city taking this action against this particular condominium and this developer just reinforces or reiterates what the city has been saying all along, that these outside investors or outside owners that are coming in and taking up a large number of units that are preventing, say, affordable housing units from being made available on the market. And regarding that issue, as far as some physical intimidation or harassment, I did witness that firsthand, John. And about 3 Saturdays ago, I was filming when the Keep Our Homes campaign had launched their campaign to notify voters that they should be voting no on the municipal question 1. While I was filming and one of the hosts was speaking, this gentleman by the name of Jeff Halta was speaking, and somebody rode by on his bike and started taunting Jeff as he was speaking.
Yeah, what was he saying? Could you repeat that on the air?
I think maybe censors might be involved if I happen to say.
He had some colorful language.
He sure did, John. Yes, he did.
Okay, well, so I guess we know it happened at least once. Probably, I'm going to go ahead and assume it's probably happened maybe 2 or even 3 times since then.
Given that they sent a letter to the mayor saying to him that, listen, they understand that they're both passionate on this issue. They're both on opposing sides of this issue, but the mayor being the most vocal proponent for voters to vote yes, that they feel that he should weigh in and say something in turn.
Yeah, exactly, Mark. And it's been an interesting week yet again, just specifically on Airbnb. You know, we saw State Senator Stack wants people to vote yes. We saw even Governor Murphy saying vote yes.
Right.
So, you know, what that means to Jersey City voters, who knows? But I guess we'll find out shortly. I mean, we're almost there. The finish line's in sight. The other thing about this report that was really interesting was the New Jersey Election Law Enforcement Commission just released reports about a day ago, not even, last night, about we're seeing that nearly $2 million spent on this race already, you know?
Oh my gosh.
$1.1 million spent by Keep Our Homes, $500,000 spent by the Share Better Education Fund, and $500,000 by another PAC identified by Politico. They didn't name the name though. So, you know, obviously 1.1 and 900,000, we're at $2 million already.
And Airbnb has spent, they've given Keep Our Homes campaign a little bit over $1 million, as you just said, right? But they've made something like over $3 million available. So obviously it's about 2 weeks to go. It's safe to say they're probably going to spend that full amount.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think anything's going to be left on the table, and I think it's going to be no holds barred. Very quickly, in just 2 seconds here, I just also want to let you know last week the Jersey City Council approved a measure that, if gets final approval, will allow the council members to make $60,000 in 2021, the mayor to make $150,000 in 2022. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll catch you next week. Take it easy.